The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim is available on Amazon Prime after a brief and apparently unsuccessful run in theaters at the end of December. It's an anime film set in Middle-earth, which is of course the same world as Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies, and I'm reluctant to include Rings of Power in this list because that show is not really canon for me. This is a prequel focusing on the nation of Rohan around 200 years before the events of The Hobbit. How accurate and aligned it is with the Tolkien lore, I don't know. I'm not a big enough nerd to be an expert to sort of comment, but it does fit in at least with what was established in the movies and is clearly part of the same continuity, even reusing some voice actors and Howard Shore's score. The story follows Hera, the daughter of current king Helm Hammerhand. At the beginning of the film, the king has a spat with one of his border lords, which ends up in a fist fight between the two of them. Helm accidentally kills the other guy. His son Wulf immediately swears bloody revenge, for which he is banished from the land. Years later, a new threat arises as the hill tribes seem to have found a new leader that was able to unite them, and they are now marching on Edoras. You can guess who the leader is, and of course events quickly lead to an all-out war. So it's a strange scenario with this film, where it is not bad. The story and the characters and technical aspects are okay, they're serviceable, but it's also not really good enough to warrant a genuine recommendation. And the two biggest problems for me are, number one, that the film follows the least interesting character. Like, Helm seems very cool. Wulf is a great example of an irredeemable antagonist. I think even the old shield maiden lady seems interesting. The general that advises Wulf, fascinating character to me, would love to learn more, but Hera is just pretty flat. She is explained as this headstrong and free character, but then, if you think about it, at every turn she ends up doing exactly everything that she can to support her father, which pretty much goes against that characterization. And other than that, she is shown to be loyal to her family and to her nation and country. And that's it, there's nothing else. The character doesn't really have a lot of depth. I did like two moments with her. One at the beginning of the film, where she manages to outmaneuver the Oliphant in a sequence strongly reminiscent of Princess Mononoke. And then the second one towards the end, where she has a great exchange with Wulf before their final confrontation, saying in essence that she is betrothed to death, which is a cool line. Other than that, she feels almost like a non-character. And the second problem is that the movie is essentially a rehash of the Battle of Helm's Deep. It has almost exactly the same structure, same story beats, even takes place in the same locations. So I was like, well, it's not bad, but I've already seen a vastly superior version of this in Two Towers. So the question is why? Who is this for? Because I don't think that this is the best entry point into the Tolkien universe. And if you've already been a fan like me, you've seen all of this before. Now, regarding the technical aspects, I mentioned that the film uses existing musical themes from the movie, which I think was absolutely the correct choice, as those are very iconic and recognizable. And then visually, I saw some people online criticizing the film for having a generic anime look. I didn't have a problem with that. I'll be honest, I like the character designs and I like the drawn backgrounds. I think at times it looks beautiful. My problem is with how it looks in movement, how it's actually animated. It seems like the movie has a frame rate that is a bit too low and is often very choppy instead of being fluid. And apparently, you know, I've read about it, the filmmakers used a pretty unique technique to animate the film. So they shot all the scenes with actual physical actors in motion capture. Then that was translated into 3D animation, and then 2D animation was drawn around that. And I'm not sure whether it's the fault of the process itself or something else, but there was a noticeable frame rate problem. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think it's a bit of a redundant movie in the end. Not great, not terrible, hard to recommend unless you're really starved for new Middle-earth stuff.